Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy AAron2420, bringing you guys my PCL DL draft analysis. Now, long story short, Austin had said that he needed a sub. I knew that already. He seemed like he really needed a sub. I didn't want to let my boy down, and there was a lot of fun mons in free agency that I've wanted to use for a while. So I figured, why not take the spot? I don't care about my record, if I'm being honest. Like, obviously, I'm not just going to throw every game, but I don't overly care about my record either. So if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I personally care more about the leagues that I was already committed to, but I do still want to help out my boy at the same time. So shout out to Austin. Now, I'm going to take every bit of pride that Austin had in letting me join the league, and I'm going to completely ruin it with my draft analysis. As you can already kind of tell where this is going with the right side. What I decided to do, because a lot of people seem really, like, you know, you gotta start doing that anime content. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna totally ruin everyone who doesn't want that right now with my draft analysis for PCL DL. I'm gonna try something out. My plan is, since a lot of these mods I had a free agent, I'm gonna go over what I free agented them for and why, and then what I kept and why, and I'm gonna also go over their spirit anime gif and why it fits, because I feel like it. And why not? I'm really tired, if I'm being honest. I'm really, really exhausted. So I'm going to realize like 2 days is a bad idea, but we're going to go with it because I already spent forever trying to find the gifts. I spent like over an hour, so let's just jump into it. First up, originally in this team, I'll go over the mods this team originally had, and I'll go over then down the line of what I kept and why I kept it, and etc, etc. So this roster was originally, it was a really train wreck roster, guys. Like, there were some good mons on it, but the roster, like, in terms of synergy, in terms of, like, what was redundant and what wasn't needed, was so awful. And not to say that I made the roster any good or anything. Like, people apparently say they're terrified of my new team. I don't overly get it, if I'm being honest. Like, it's a meh team at best with what I made out of it. But I guess compared to where it was, I can see the hype. The team originally was Naganadel, Celesteela, Victini, Necrozma, Mega Heracross, Rotom-Mow, Donphan, Mantine, Greninja, Steelix, and Alola Ninetales. So, things that made me really hopeful, of course, seeing Alola Ninetales, I can make any Veil work. Well, not any Veil work. I can at least kind of make Veil work. I would say any Veil, but clearly I need to rewatch my MPL run to see how I'm not doing that right now. In general, though, I think, though, that I can make Veil work at least in practice, not necessarily, well, in theory, not necessarily in practice. I think I at least know enough about Veil to make it work if I really needed. So I figured, why not? I figured at the very least as well, I can at the very least, there's some interesting stuff left in free agents. I told Austin, well, I told Austin that I'd probably join. I was thinking to myself, I would join if 1 or 2 mons were available. Because I've already used Naganadel. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It was a fun mod, just I wasn't crazy about it. Either Makirina had to have been allowed, or the first pick is Pheromosa. Now, I'll start off with Pheromosa because it's the first down the tier list and first on the list in general. Pheromosa, you know, it's got them nice legs. I tried finding a gif of Tiger kicking Ryuji from Toradora because it was first pick. Well, first mon, I figured I'd go with first anime I watched. However, I couldn't find the gif of that, so since I didn't feel like renaming the layout to anime picture, I decided I would find the gif of Philo kicking the spear hero for obvious reasons. It's a pretty appropriate gif. Now, let's get into Pheromosa and why I wanted this. So a couple of years ago, I drafted Pheromosa in a league that I did called the GTL with my good pal Semia X. I loved using Pheromosa. I used it with the Sand team. I thought it was so fun to use. So I really wanted to use that again. So Pheromosa was pretty cool mod. Really solid offenses in every stat. It's essentially just a glass cannon, but I loved using it in Sand personally. I felt like it compensated a lot for some of the things that Sand struggle with. One, it gives it momentum, which a lot of Sand teams don't have the best momentum on them. So I felt like that this already was really nice. Also, it takes rapid spin pressure off a drill. And while you might be saying, you know, Pheromosa, rapid spin, that's pretty good meme. Pheromosa forces a lot of good switches. So actually, it's not a bad rapid spinner, if I'm being honest. Of course, it's not like the most dependable one either, but it's still there. Also, it's a special setup sweeper. A lot of Sand teams I found when running Sand, and I've run a lot of Sand in the ladder, I found a lot of Sand teams personally do get into the mindset of running really physical.jpg teams. Pheromosa does fix that, of course. It's a really solid fighting type as well. Sadly, I couldn't run this in Z. Otherwise, this would have been literally Z. I didn't care if that would have been my only Z mod. I could not have run it Z no matter what, so I didn't overly care about my Z mods. because it was really the only one I really wanted on this roster. There was like one other, but I was going to use a transaction on Z moves when I really needed the Mons over the Z crystals. I figured I'm probably just going to run Z anyway, so it's whatever. Pheromosa, though, as I mentioned, does give some nice momentum. Really solid speed stat as well, even outside of Sand, so my team does have a fast option without Sand being up regardless. My speed tier is a little jank, but I mean, it's not awful. It could be worse. Typing is really good as well. Bug plus fighting offensively is really nice. Just ask my boy Heracross. And it has good physical offense as well. As I mentioned, special attack is really good. Physical attack is equal, and the coverage is still really there. So I could run a mixed set, I could run a pure physical or special set. I get really nice choice sets as well, I feel like. Just in general, this thing has a lot of options, I feel like. And it's a mod that I really enjoyed using it when I did. I only used it for a couple of weeks because GTL had a lot of really weird rules, and I lost Pheromosa at one point. So that was really unfortunate, but I mean, it happens. Regardless, though, I did enjoy using Pharaoh Sand when I had it. Next up, we have our next pick. This is a mon. Of course, I mentioned I'm getting Pharaoh Sand, so I had to get myself Excadrill. Now, the sick Kaguya might not make sense. It'll make sense with the next mon, of course. It's a Kaguya partner in crime to Chica. So Drill had to be Kaguya. Also, because Kaguya has like the blush and Drill's red, I figured it worked. Also, because Kaguya in general, like in the OP, Kaguya has the red and the GIF, so I figured it worked. It worked. It technically works. This is my loosest one, keep in mind, but it does still work nonetheless. Now Drill, of course, Pheromosa Sand, I felt like it was, again, really nice. Excadrill is really good at taking down flying types, and I felt like that, plus my next pick, are really good at taking down flying types for Pheromosa, which is really important. Sadly, this does not take down water types for Pheromosa, which I feel like a lot of fat water types can actually really wall Pheromosa still, or even just Psychics. Well, not necessarily Psychics, actually, because Pheromosa can still get bugged, but like fat water types will at least give this Pheromosa Sand core a little bit issues. However, I do have workarounds from that later on. In general, though, I felt like the Excadrill was a really solid pick, to be honest. Really nice backup rapid spinner option for my Mega later on, which I will get to later on. In general, Drill has really nice typing. I felt like that even though I had to drop Steela for this, which this is going to be compared to a worse version of my Latias pickup over Kieran Black, but I just didn't want to use Celesteela. I've done draft for Gen 7 for almost 3 years now. I have drafted Drill in 2 years. I've drafted Celesteela a lot recently in, not necessarily upload leagues, but I've drafted it a lot recently in just general. So I didn't really want to use Celesteela again. I just got off of using it in a couple leagues not too recently. So I just didn't feel like using it. I just want to use Drill. Fight me. It's a D-League. Do you really think I'm going to try and just draft a Steela stall team? I don't feel like I really want to. So, we got Drill. As I said, I was only going to join if I could either get Magirna, which in that case I would have dropped Steela anyway, or Pharaoh Sand, which would have dropped Steela anyway. So, it's gone. That's literally Drill is just here for Pharaoh Sand. I just want to use Sand. Simple as that. Next up on the list, Drill's partner in crime, we have Ricardo, the T-Tar. That's why I literally had to throw this GIF on. I have another Chikamon later on, which I'll get into when it gets here, but I named Ricardo I named T-Tar Ricardo. Well, Ben named it that, so I had to throw this GIF on there. So that's literally why it's a Kaguya as well. But T-Tar, really nice sand setter. It's really good even outside of sand, I feel like. Nerve has a really nice ability on T-Tar as well, and it's very underestimated. I feel like it's really nice for getting through like Colbermon, such as maybe like a Colbur, Crest, or Uniclus. It could just bop them right out of the blue. And they really don't have any counterplay at that point. And for some teams, that might be really reliable ways to at least handle T-Tar. Not necessarily Crest, but maybe like Focus Blast, Uniclus with like Fightini. Well, no, not Fightini. Like just Calm Mind, Focus Blast, Uniclus with like a Colbur Berry. Might not be a bad option. So in general, though, T-Tar does help in that department at least. It does help also with Pursuit Trapping as well. Really solid Pursuit Trapper for some bulky Psychics. Makes it so that when Pheromosa doesn't need to just click U-turn versus them. Or even like, if Psychic types are running Tanga Berry, they're going to have to really worry about either running Tanga or Colbur versus T-Tar and Pharaoh. I felt like, and not only that, but I felt like that in general, Psychic types would wall out a lot of other mons in this roster, and it does help a lot of my later picks out. So having two mons that can be really responsive answers to Psychics, I felt like it's really good. And of course, the Sand Element, this does make my team have faster options than just Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's a really fast mon, of course, but this does outspeed even Pharaoh because of the Drill Sand, which is really nice. T-Tar, of course, does get Dragon Dance as well. It's another hazard setter outside of Excadrill, which is really good. So already, the Pharaoh Sand core is coming alive, and I felt like that I had some really good options for it. And my next mon, the first mon I decided to keep on the roster But I felt like this mon in general, just it helped a lot with taking off hazard pressure from T-Tar, which was really needed in my opinion. Not only that, but I felt like that having his mon as well, it's a really fast psychic type. I didn't want to keep Victini personally, because I'm not the biggest fan of Victini in general, and this mon, I've been trying to come up with excuses to draft it for a while. I actually tried to make excuses to drop it, if I'm being honest, when I was doing that. I was like, you know, because Reuniclus was there, and I was like, Magic Guard, Reuniclus, and Sand, that's really nice. However, I was one transaction too short, and I felt like that this pick was, I felt like this was the least undesirable option to keep. So, I kept myself Necrozma, who is also Chica. This is the actual Chica, not Ricardo Chica. The reason I have Detective Fujiwara up here is because Necrozma is a psychic type, so making the big brain plays like Fujiwara, using the big brain detective plays. So I had to do Detective Fujiwara. I could have done Mai, because, you know, or Ishigami. I almost did Ishigami as well, because, like, total edgelord. But I felt like that Detective Fujiwara with these big brain plays was just too free. Necrozma does give me a few things. For one, it does give me a really nice, just fast psychic type. So Necrozma plus T-Tar, really solid fat core there. It also gives me a backup rocker, Calm Mind support, which is really nice because it's my only other special sweeper, I believe, in the entire roster. Well, actually, I have like one other special sweeper besides Pheromosa and Necrozma, but it's not really like a good special sweeper. Well, actually, I have two technically, but I digress. Really solid special offensive mon, really solid fat mon. Speed tier is really nice. Does give me Trick Room option as well. So if I want to go with like Trick Room with T-Tar, this. I do have another mon later on that actually would be really solid in Trick Room, so I do have the option. I also do the fast option, of course, as I mentioned previously with Sand. But Necrozma is just really solid speed tier for my team. It also gives me some nice rock support. Prism Armor is a really solid defensive ability, I feel like, and it does get some nice status as well. I believe it gets Thunder Wave. I know it gets Toxic, which is obviously implied it gets Toxic, but I believe it does get Thunder Wave as well, which would actually be really solid because I could run like maybe just like a no-speed Pheromosa if I get off a couple key pairs. Depends on the matchup, of course, but I can at the very least lower the speed investment on Pharaoh, or I can even just pick off Scarfers for Pharaoh to clean late game. So that is, of course, a really nice benefit to Necrozma. In general, really solid mon. I think it has some really nice synergy on this team. Next up, we have ourselves our Mega. I mentioned before, this is one of the benefits of having two Rapid Spinners on this team, even if one of them is not the best Rapid Spinner. We also do actually have some more removal later on in the draft. We have 5 removal options, well, 6 removal options, 4 of them defoggers, 2 of them Rapid Spinners. I've never drafted this much removal in my life, let alone as of recent times where I'm barely drafting 1 removal option. But I really need it for this Mega. We have Mega Zardex, who I have represented by Miku. Now, I mainly just did this because, you know, it's my Mega. Most people draft around their Megas. I sort of fit this team around my Mega in a way, because Sand actually does help with Zard a lot, believe it or not. One of the main things that it helps with is countering raw types, just like with Pheromosa. It does, well, not necessarily with Pheromosa, but between things like Pheromosa and Drill, it's counter a lot of rock types for Zard. Not only that, but a couple picks I have later on really do annihilate through any sort of water types, or not necessarily water types, but like ground types at the very least. Water types Zard can kind of handle, but not to the greatest extent, because they can't Scald Burn Zard. And I can always run like a SC Thunder Punch set that will handle a lot of water types that would otherwise give my team a lot of issues. I do have a Grass and Electric type later on. They can also handle water types, so I feel like I do have at least counterplay to that. And of course, we can also Calm Mind in a lot of them and just go for Photon Geyser, so water types aren't the biggest issue for Zard, and I do have counterplay to it. But my team does really pair well against taking out a lot of ground and rock types for Zard, which is very nice for me, in my opinion. Zard, really nice speed tier, really nice setup option as well. The base 100 is a nice patch between my Excadrill and some of my fast mons later on. It's not the best patch, but I mean, it's there. Sadly, I can't run a Scarf on Zard because the base 100 Scarf, I love base 100 Scarfers personally. But I mean, DD is still there to at least boost speed, so it's not the best, not the worst option. I was really hoping I could have gotten Zard Y, but Zard Y was actually taken. So for some reason Zard X wasn't though, so I was like, fuck it, I'll take Zard X. I'm not exactly complaining about taking a Zard X. I do love the mon to death. It's one of my favorites. And one of my most kill leading mons on my overall stats actually made the list the other day. I think it's like top 5. And I've only drafted it like twice that I have kill counts for. So, of course, Zard X, really solid mon. I think it's really nice. Dragon really fits well in the team with Excadrill for my Steel. And my Fairy that I got later on, that I'll go into in a bit. I felt like it just fit really well. Next up on our roster, we have our water answer, our primary water answer. We have Rotom... Oh, my bad, I hit the wrong option. We have Rotom, which I have represented by Itsuki. For one, the hair. I figured this fit better than doing Miku, even though I named it Miku in my first week game. I figured it just fit. because like Rotomo eats a lot of stuff, Itsuki eats a lot of stuff. I couldn't find a gif of Itsuki eating, but it is whatever. I figured that like it's a lawnmower, it's literally munching through grass. Itsuki eats everything. Fits pretty well in my opinion. Rotomo though, really solid speed tap, base 86. This is sort of my actual base 86 mod because I don't really count drill because most times we'll be running it in sand, or if not a sand, then maybe like a scarf option. So I don't really count drill for that speed tier. However, Rotomo still does hit it, and it's a nice speed tier in between my Zardex and my Necrozma, which is really good. Really nice momentum as well with Pheromosa. I didn't have momentum outside of that so far, but I do pick up some, at least I think that's actually it, I think, for momentum, unless I'm missing something. But nonetheless, Rotomo is a very reliable momentum gainer. Not only that, but Willow's support is really nice. It does help a lot with making things like Necrozma take hits really well. T-Tar can even take hits really well defensively if I do have certain mons burned. In general, Will-O-Wisp is just a really nice option for chipping things down. It's another removal option. This is actually my first defogger if you don't count Zardex in the team, and I don't count Zardex at all as a defogger. If I'm ever running defog on Zardex, there's something wrong with me, and you need to call some sort of 911 to make sure I'm not like kidnapped. But Rotomo is really nice support. It's my best way around waters because I don't have another grass or electric on the team actually. So that is sort of the biggest issue with the roster actually. But I do still have Necrozma, as I mentioned, to calm mind around a lot of those. SD Zardex with Thunder Punch, they're really not going to take that. I can even run like a Belly Drum Zard. Belly Drum Zard will of course blow through any sort of waters. Just Belly Drum, Thunder Punch. Hell, even Belly Drum Dragonfly would probably blow through anything besides like a Finny or an Azu. But as I said, Thunder Punch still does handle those. So, we do have options, of course. I feel like that we're not that doomed. However, the next mon I think really will curse our season. We had to draft this mon. There was really like no other reliable fairy I could have picked up. Also, I really need the flying typing because my team is a little ground weak, as you guys can see. And while I do have the only really good mold breaker, well, the only mold breaker ground type that can spam Earthquake, Haxorus is still there, and Haxorus would also kind of blow through my team, so I really didn't need this mon. I hate that I had to draft it though. With every fiber of my being, I had to get myself next up Togekiss. So I had to pick a girl that really represented this. So I threw on Ichika because, like Togekiss, they're both trash. Fight me on it. They're gonna deceive. That, you know, everyone thinks to themselves, you know, Togekiss isn't that bad of a mon until they realize that. Their opponent will always get to flinch them out, but they will never actually flinch someone out with Togekiss. It's never going to happen. So very deceptive, like a Sneck, like Ichika Sneck. But yeah, Togekiss, I mean, it's a defog option. It's technically my next, like, setup special sweeper, besides Necrozma and Pheromosa, who are much more reliable at it. It's a cleric on our roster. We really did need it, to be honest, because our fairy was low in Ninetales. And while it could be a heal bell user, it's not a good cleric. In my opinion. Fight me on it. It's another defog option, which does help, of course. The Steel Dragon Fairy Core actually fits really nice, in my opinion, in terms of like an offensive core, because Togekiss can actually still be pretty offensive, in my opinion. I don't know, I hate Togekiss. Fuck Togekiss. Next mon, we have an actual, like, good mon next. We have Mantine, who's represented by Ichigo. I was originally going to actually do this with Aki because the hair color, and I had named it Aki in my game. However, I had another mon that fit Aki better later on, which I'll get into in a little bit. And sort of like, if you look at older Mantine sprites, it has the little Remoraid on it. And sort of like in Darling and the Franks, you know, they're riding with like the female in the lead. So, you know, very much gender empowerment there. And that's where Ichigo comes in as the Mantine. And then, you know, her seed with, her pilot with the Remoraid that's like just useless. It's just there. If you look at ZR2, they can just females can pilot on their own. They're strong enough too, so she doesn't really need him. And that's where Mantine fits. I figured it fit. Mantine, it's a really nice water type, I feel like. It's a water I've actually wanted to use again for a while. I only have used it since in Gen 7 in IBA D2 when I joined as just to muck around that season, and then I ended up subbing for someone. So I only used it for like 4 weeks in my like a camera up squad, which was a really fun mon to use. So I figured, no, Mantine's actually a cool mon. I kind of like it in this team, but being honest, I do have really solid answers to electric types with things like Excadrill. Zardex can actually still handle a lot of electric hits because it is 1 a resistance, and 2 it gets Earthquake, a really solid way to break a lot of electrics. Rotomo is a really nice resist. I just feel like I have a lot of really nice ways around electric types. So I'm not the most worried about that. Also, this is another way around water types actually because, of course, water absorb, and I can just Toxic Stall them all. It's going to be really annoying, of course. Finny would arguably give my team the most trouble out of any water type, and we sadly do actually play it our first week. So I'm a little worried about that, especially because our team before transactions is a lot weaker to Finny. But yeah, I feel like that we're going to be fine though. Mantine is still really clean. We're going to be fine. It's another defog option as well. This actually, I think it's U-turn, but I can't remember. If it doesn't, we only have 2 U-turn options. If it does, then we have 3. Anyway, our next mod, we have another water type. This is a more offensive one. This is the one that I was more so referring to when I said we have a lot of good answers for ground types. Because while Mantine can technically take a ground hit, it's not going to do a ton back. But we do have Greninja, and this is represented by Taiga. The main reason I chose this GIF was because it's like Taiga with the sword. I figured it fit really well because it's sort of like, you know, like Samurai Taiga. Greninja's like a ninja. They're both sorts of like fighters. And I sort of felt like it fit well. I could have chosen like from Shield Hero, like the Shadows, but I feel like it wasn't, I don't know, they're too irrelevant. Anyway, Greninja, really nice speed stat. This is my patch, my nearest patch between Pheromosa and my last mod on the roster, being a low Ninetales. I didn't free agent to spoilers. But it's my nice patch between there. Really nice support with spikes, gives me some more momentum. Oh, I forgot, this does give momentum. So we do have 3 momentum gainers, luckily, maybe 4. So the team is saved. But to be fair though, as the Flying Bird 14 would mention, running U-turn on Greninja is a cardinal sin, but he probably thinks of that anyway, just looking at my draft analysis, that I'm going to commit many of those this season. So it is what it is. Greninja though, really nice dark type option. Just for the special end, Dark Pulse is a really nice option against a lot of Psychic types. So, sadly, neither of our Dark types actually get knockoff, which is really unfortunate. It's a big pet peeve of mine, not having a stab knockoff one, but we'll manage. I think I get knockoff on something in my roster. Actually, I don't get knockoff on anything in my roster unless Necrozma gets it. We'll manage. We'll manage. Spikes is really nice. It gets really nice coverage on both ends of the spectrum, so it's a really nice mixed attacker. Just a really cool mod. I've enjoyed using it a lot in GSA minors, and I figured, I mean, I had it anyway. It's not exactly a mod I want to free agent, though at the time would have loved to use something different. But it's here. It's a fun mod. I like Greninja. Simple as that. Next up on our roster, we have 2 mods left. I'm actually going to, yeah, I'm going to do this one next, everyone. I would say. So next up, I had a Steelix here originally. Though I'm getting an extra gel, it just felt so redundant with the typing. I didn't want to make my team more ground weak, so I figured I would pick up something that actually does help with that. I have Toucannon next. Toucannon's a very angry boy, so I had to represent that with a very angry Tsundere, so pick Maki. I was going to do Taiga for this, but I felt like Taiga just fit too well with Greninja. I was going to repeat another waifu yet again on the roster. So, we have Toucannon, our Tsundere of the roster. Really solid Trick Room option, as I mentioned earlier. We did have another Trick Room mon on the roster. I felt like the typing is really nice too. Ben has actually really made me woke to the idea of drafting Toucannon. It's a very next-gen mon, in my opinion. Has insane coverage, really nice abilities as well. It's another defogger on the roster. Toucannon might actually get U-turn. To be honest, I don't really know. I just know it gets a lot of really nice options offensively. Of course, I don't want to just run through the move set. It does get U-turn. It does get knockoff, so we do have a knockoff user. We're so good. How do I do it? It also gets a Tailwind option, actually, which is a really low-key, like, not bad option for this thing. Because 120 physical attack with the base 60 speed plus 2, this actually does go pretty far, at level 50 especially. Like, this will outspeed a lot of things. I believe it outspeeds, like, base 110s, if I'm not mistaken, which is actually really low-key kind of clean. Actually, it should definitely outspeed base 110s. I think it would outspeed, like, base, like, 130s with just, like, an adamant nature. Because all I need is a 164 investment. And under Tailwind, I would guarantee outspeed base 130s, which is actually really nice. Hell, that would even outspeed, like, Ash Grenac. Actually, no. I would need to go to 172. But 172 still does outspeed Ash Grenac, which is actually really amazing. All I need is just a Tailwind up. I could probably run this thing like a fat set. Because Bullet Seed, let's face it, would still link with Oko Ash Grenac anyway. But this thing actually does have a lot of really clean moveset. Not only that, but it also does a Flame Charge, which is actually really amazing as well. It's a damaging option to just permanently boost speed. It does get Beak Blast, which is a really clean option. 100% accurate, no recoil. It is minus priority, sadly, but it is still a really nice way to just hit something with a lot of damage. So yeah, Toucannon's kind of a low-key scary mon. I've wanted to try it for so long. I've been putting it on my list of normal type memes to draft, and I've just been saying, you know, I'll draft it next time, I'll draft it next time. But every time I think about drafting Toucannon, it's either for some reason tier 4, or I just can't end up picking it. So, we finally got it this time. I figured it was actually time to pick it up. But yeah, finally though, we do have 1 mon left on our roster, and this is the mon that I mentioned that Aki fit better. It's the mon I've been hinting at for a while that we have. Oh, wait, shit, I hit the wrong option. We have Alolan Ninetales. Now, we have the Queen of Mean for Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales, well, you might say to yourself, it looks like a pretty nice mon. That's until you click Veil, and then your opponents actually start trying to curse through their monitors at you when they're recording their live comms, saying that they hate that they have to play Veil, it's just a stupid option, it should not be allowed in format, etc, etc. Because, you know, Alolan Ninetales is round 1 mon, I somehow got it last round on this team. Technically, I didn't draft the team, but it was still last round on this roster regardless. In general, though, Alolan Ninetales is really nice speed stat between Greninja and Zard X. Of course, it's not exactly a Scarf mon, but it is still a really nice, just fast utility mon with things like Veil, Encore, etc, etc. Really cool mon. Typing is great. It's a nice offensive fairy. Well, to be fair, Togekiss actually hits harder, but at the same time, there's probably more so a support mon. 2 nasty plot options. Actually, I forgot that both Togekiss and this get nasty plots. This actually isn't a bad special sweeper. On this roster, I might finally have to use like a nasty plot Alolan Ninetales, because usually most rosters it's locked into a support role for me. But I think on this roster, it might actually fit an offensive role. Who knows? We'll see when the season goes on. Typing is really nice. Ice typing is really good, especially because in S-tier drafts there are a lot of nice dragons. Of course, I did drop Naganadel, so that's one less I have to worry about. But to be fair, Naganadel actually would handle this, so it's not that big of a deal. But things like, actually, they really didn't allow any dragons. It's still nice for, like, Darkrai, I guess, for like a Cabia Berry. And that could be really clean. Oh, that's really it. Shit, they didn't allow any dragons. I'm really disappointed. Oh well, Veil was still really nice. Too nice to pass up. It's a nice option if I don't want to run Sand. Even then, it does still give T-Tar some nice D-Dance options if I do want to run Veil. And I can bring T-Tar as well and fake a Sand option and just go with DD Veil. And no one's going to handle that. Because T-Tar's already a disgustingly thick mon in my opinion. It's a really fat mon. And had it not been for the fact it's 4 times Fighting Weak, which is a really common offensive typing, T-Tar would be like a disgusting one to play defensively. And that plus T-Tar plus Veil plus DD, oh boy, our team's not going to want to face that. That's not fun, especially when I also have DD Zard X, and between the two of them, like, literally, there are not mons that want to switch in on both. Well, you could, again, mention Bulky Waters. As I mentioned earlier, SD Zard X with Thunder Punch does not give a fuck about your Bulky Waters. In general, though, that is my harem, I mean my team for this season of PCL D League. As I mentioned, I'm sort of just trying to have fun. While you can say that my team really does not look like it's a fun team, it's fun for me, and that's what matters. To Austin, I'm sorry I already ruined all your faith in me this season by throwing waifus on my draft analysis. But watch all these anime. I already recommended them all to Matt. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.